Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, Potter Than Hellions. Welcome back to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is Steve, your host. I'm joined as always by
BC.
And no BB this week, but our keyboard player still
Dylan.
And we are joined this week by our two awesome special guests, Keenan.
Hello.
And Mark Anthony K.
Hello, how you doing?
Great, guys. And both of these guys are on the Kiss FAQ podcast. Guys, what's going on with you guys?
As far as me, the usual stuff, working on many things musically. I'm waiting right now to get the covers of the Man of Science, Man of Dreams albums in so I can finally sign them and number them and insert the posters that go with the first 50 of them. Waiting for the test pressings. Those are actually going to come probably pretty soon. And within the next couple of days, I'm going to be putting up a new video to announce that I'm actually also been working on something. Since this is going to be 2 weeks in the future, I can announce it here now because It'll be just in time probably. But I've been working on something in secret all this time. The last 6 months I've been writing, and I've been noticing that I've been writing some kind of music that's not really Project Gemini style. So I've ended up collecting a massive amount of like 7 or 8 songs already that are very much more of the hard rock style.
Cool.
So I might be actually releasing another album under a totally different band name, but of just kind of like 70s-ish kind of hard rock style. So
cool.
Should be interesting. So keep your ears open for that. I don't have a band name yet.
You should run a contest on Project Gemini to name the band.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking maybe I might get people to put some suggestions in because I've been scraping my brain trying to think of one, and every time I think of one, it's like, nah, that sucks. And, I can't think of a decent one right now, but it's interesting. The music is pretty hard rock, more that style, like not a lot of double bass and stuff like that. It's just more like rock and roll,
straightforward
but like heavy
stuff.
Rock and roll.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Ken, how about you? What do you got going on?
I'm just busy. Mark. Yeah, I'm waiting for Mark's album, vinyl album, to arrive.
So are we.
It'll be coming. I'm looking forward to that. Otherwise, just been doing the Kiss FAQ podcast, weekly, and got to see one Kiss show already, and I'm just gonna now wait until September for the second Kiss show that I'm going to be going to. So, yeah, it's otherwise everything's normal.
Okay, cool. And speaking of Kiss, Ken, what'd you think of the show? What's your overall little quick review here for our listeners here?
Well, it's one of the best Kiss concerts that I've seen. I know that the energy of the actual band is not the same as going back, but the actual stage itself and the effects and the way from song to song, it moves along quite well without a lot of interruption in between songs, like, extended, raps.
Thank God.
That's been drastically reduced, which is, I think, a really good thing, and probably he should have done that a long time ago. But it was great. I mean, I was really into this one more than I've been into a number of Kiss concerts the last number of years. So it was fantastic. Again, stage was great, and what we should expect from Kiss, every time. So if you're on the fence about going, just do it.
Pull the trigger.
I mean, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, are you going to be checking out this tour at all?
They are coming by this way, yes. And I am pondering going. I'm waiting on my connection to get me my seat to go in and see it. I'll be honest. I've been watching a lot of the videos, and I think it looks fantastic. That is the one thing that is luring me to go to see it, because I think the stage show is finally something that we've been long waiting for, and they finally delivered. But the musician in me that's talking in this ear over here, going blah 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 blah, is saying, how can you go against your ethics of a man who's up there now? You're paying $150 to hear somebody lip sync. That's kind of bugging me, but I'm still probably going to go and end up going.
Okay, cool. We have tickets to go see them on March 29th in Philadelphia, and definitely looking forward to it. And the kind of sad thing for me is I'm actually looking forward more to going see Slash with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators at the end of August. I'm a little more excited to see that than I am to see the Kiss show. But and actually, that's my birthday present to BC this year. I bought him. His birthday's not till May, but that's BC's birthday present. We're going to see Slash.
That's awesome. But I mean, on one hand, I feel sad. I feel like when I just said those words about Kiss, I almost felt like Ken kind of got into like sad puppy dog mode there for a second. And I was dissing Kiss, and I don't mean to do that. I mean, Kiss is one of my favorite bands in the whole world. But
yeah, we're absolutely looking forward to going to it.
It's just, I guess it's more of so.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Before we get rocking into the thing here, let's what's everybody listening to? Ken, now what are you listening to these days?
What I'm listening to these days, I got just got it actually, but it's not an album or vinyl, but it's a CD of Blackfoot. It's the After the Rain CD. It came out in like '93, I want to say. So I just got it and started listening to it. I mean, it's pretty good. It's more going back to his, Ricky Medlock's roots on that one. Has some bluesy feels to it, and then some hard rock and stuff. So there was a period in the late 80s to early 90s where it kind of lost his way there, and then this one was pretty good. It's not bad. It's the last true Blackfoot album that had any original member on it. So.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what I was listening to.
And Ken, we did not forget about. We're going to be doing a Southern Fried Rock episode with Ken. We're kind of working on it. Ken's going to have to weave us through that realm because we're not really that up on it. But we're gonna try and get something out with that I've been kind of going back and forth with Ken a little bit about. So that's cool. I'll have to check that out. Mark, what do you got going? I mean, do you even have time to listen to anything else?
Yeah, I mean. It's funny because I went to the store the other day and I ran across a mother load. Well, maybe not a mother load, but quite a big amount of cassettes, actually. And I've been going through them now a lot. So I got, and this band, I was looking for something for a while, and it's hard to find them, and that's the Scream.
Yeah.
With John Karabi's band. I got that on cassette. And all of these were for 50 cents. I couldn't believe it. Like 50 cents? They were desperate to get rid of them for some reason. I got Queen Innuendo.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
Right. I got, this was a real fight, 50 cents. I'm like, you guys are idiots, but I didn't want to tell it them their face. But they had the Beatles.
Oh, the red one.
Good.
That early greatest hits.
Yeah.
I just bought that on vinyl.
Early first Canadian pressing of Queen Day at the Races
Okay.
Wow.
on cassette.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, that's a really old one. And then I've got The Miracle. Queen.
Okay.
Wow, that's like a Queen fest.
Queen Palooza.
Yeah, well, they had a whole bunch of them there, and they were all like 50 cents. They were marked down from like $10 to 50 cents. I'm like, okay, I'm going to just scoop all of them.
Well, you might as well fill the cart.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
There you go.
Dylan, we haven't heard from you yet tonight. What are you listening to?
Well, besides what I'm going to talk about listening to, I actually was listening to a track off the Day of the Races, Mark. My girlfriend has recently discovered Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy and is obsessed with that song. So I've been listening to that quite a bit on the car ride home, and I love when Queen gets vaudeville-y and silly like that, but they can also rock out really well too.
Yeah.
But the main thing that I was listening to after Metallica put out their acoustic live album that they recently put out, I decided to go delve back into Blue Oyster Cult. I was listening to their first 3 albums. The self-titled one, Tyranny and Mutation, and Secret Treaties. God, those are rockin' albums. If you haven't listened to them in their entirety, they have some amazing solos, some awesome vocals, and I love that a lot of the stuff they're doing is of the time, but there's also some pretty progressive stuff as well that they put inside those albums. And their whole catalog, really. There's not really an absolutely terrible throwaway album, there's always something good involved in them. And they're a band that, you always hear Don't Fear the Reaper or Godzilla, but they have so many other good tracks too, and these first 3 albums are indicative of that, I think.
Excellent. BC, how are you, buddy?
Believe it or not, like 2 days ago, I just got an Iron Maiden kick for some reason, so I threw on Dance of Death.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm trying to get back into
Love that.
not an older Iron Maiden, but a few years back in
Their worst
2000s.
album cover, but one of their
weirdest
better
album
albums.
cover.
Yeah, that album cover
But,
sucks.
As far as their album covers, yes, but otherwise, the
Musically, it's
great album musically.
I've actually gotten into a whole thing now. You'd be very happy to hear this, BC, that I actually am now on my big kick to collect the Iron Maiden 45s. I'm
There you go.
on a hunt for them now, so I want to collect all those.
Oh,
They're-
the 45s or like the 12-inch
Yeah,
ones?
like the 45 singles, yeah.
They really.
'Cause I used to
really?
have the 12-inch. I had one with all those ones that had, like, the bonus songs, and they had that
Yeah.
Listen with Nico on the 4th side and all that.
I was at that show that happened. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the Mission from Area one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That happened in August of '83 in Allentown, and I was at that show, and I didn't know it until I read the book Run to the Hills, when it was talking about that in the book, and I'm like, holy shit, I was at that show. I mean, in 1983, you didn't notice anything was like going wrong, but I guess it was like a really big fuck up in the show, and I was
Yeah.
at that show. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know
You
they
never
had
know
the
what
scenes.
happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There's the little 45s.
Oh, yeah?
There's what?
Because I actually the big 12-inch singles, I have all of them. I think except for 3. I think I don't have Can I Play with Madness and maybe the newer ones.
Oh, you're missing your favorite song?
I know, I hate that song.
That's
cool, though.
That cover's really cool.
That's
though.
cool. Love Dance of Death. I don't remember the 45s for
They
for
just
Maiden.
came out. They're
Oh, there's a bunch.
Are they reissued, or are you looking for the? You're looking for the
He's
originals,
probably
I'm
looking
sure.
for the original.
probably like retros because they
I'm looking-
reissued them.
I'm looking. They do the reissues as well. I don't mind getting some of the reissues. I got the Aces High reissue one, but I'm trying. If I'm gonna get the reissues, I'm trying to get like the UK ones
Okay.
instead of the Canadian ones. Like I want to get those ones, but I'm trying to find more of the original ones, right?
All right, cool. Me, as far as I go, I went to see Tesla, and when we were recording this 2 weeks ago, and I hooked up with Troy Lucetta from Tesla. They're awesome drummer. He was a total gentleman, and totally hooked me up. Great guy. Got to say hello to the rest of the guys in the band. So I've been on kind of a Tesla kick lately. I can't wait for the new album to come out. The 2 songs that they've released, by the time that we're recording this, they played them live, which was like last night from when we were recording, and songs went over really well. I thought they were great. You could tell the album's produced by Phil Collin from Def Leppard, and you could tell there's a little bit of Def Leppard spin on those songs that they played, but just a great show. They play some deep tracks in the show, and I've been been on a little Tesla kick lately.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. What we're listening to, you guys, we have some Blackfoot from Ken, the Scream, and a ton of Queen from Mark. He picked them up on cassette, which was like crazy, like even hearing about cassettes now. A lot of early Blue Oyster Cult for Dylan. BC getting to a little Maiden, Dance of Death, and little Tesla kick for Steve here. So that's what we're listening to, you guys. Check them out, and I'm definitely interested to check out the Blackfoot stuff that Mark was listening to, or not Mark, I'm sorry, Ken was checking out. And like I said, we're gonna have a Southern Fried Rock kind of episode coming up. Definitely this year, but I'm not sure when. It's going to be a little bit down the road. So check those out, you guys, and we'll take a break real quick right now for the news. Okay, guys, in the news this week, we have a couple little tidbits for you this week. For those of you that are living on Mars or something like that, you probably have not seen the trailer for the biopic from Motley Crue, The Dirt. You've seen it, right, Dylan?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, so I was really excited when they actually released it. It's coming out to Netflix, correct?
Yeah, I think it's March 22nd, I think.
Yeah, and Ramsey Bolton's in it as who is he? Mick Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that should be really fun to see. I always love watching the biopics. Usually they're not fantastic or spectacular, but they're always a fun watch at least.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting if nothing else. I'm just interested to see. I'm not a total Motley Crue geek like I know like stuff about Kiss. I mean, there's people that know way more about Kiss than me, but I know way more about Kiss than I do Motley Crue. So but I know some stuff, so it's going to be interesting to see what they actually they fictionalize and what's actually they show that's true or whatever. But
Well, the book itself is mostly fiction, I'm sure. 'Cause some of those stories are too crazy.
Well, actually, too, in the book, there's a lot of contradictory things too, because they ask each guy their point of view of what happened, and there's one side and the other side, and then somewhere in the middle lies the truth. So it's going to be interesting. The trailer was pretty cool. I like the kind of the live stuff that they're showing. Have you heard the new song too, Dylan?
No, I saw that they came out with a new song. It's also called The Dirt.
It's
correct?
called The Dirt. Yeah. It's getting bashed online quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. It was it's not bad. It's not horrible.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people are like ragging on it big time. But I don't think it's too bad. It's there's worse crew songs out there. Trust me.
And the movie's coming out March 22nd.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
Yeah. So definitely check that out, you guys. Coming to a Netflix computer or phone or TV, wherever the hell you watch it on. And like we said, that'll be March 22nd. So once, actually, you guys, even just let us know what you guys think about the trailer and the song if you've seen it. I'm sure if you listen to this kind of music, I'm sure you have, or at least heard about it. So if you haven't seen it yet, jump on. I'm sure it's on YouTube, and I know it's on Facebook, a bunch of pages and stuff. So, and I think we shared it too on our Facebook page.
I believe so.
I think I
yeah.
shared it. So,
and we'll probably talk about the movie once it comes out. We'll definitely give a review of it.
For bad or good, we'll definitely have a conversation about,
because that's one we could all readily
identify with. Yeah. Right. I think even BC can pick up Netflix on something that he has.
Yeah, so we don't have to go to the movies or illegally download it. We can
It'll be available for whoever wants to watch it. So it's going to be interesting. So tune in for that. Kind of on the bad news front, Peter Frampton has announced his final tour, and he's going into retirement because he has a degenerative muscular disease, and it's called inclusion body myostis. And it's kind of like a motor function kind of thing. So, I'm gonna tell you what, he's at the top of his game right now. I saw him this last summer, and he was just freaking incredible. And it's sad to hear, but at least he realizes that, hey, let's go out while I'm still rocking pretty good. And there's tour dates out there, so check. They're on Facebook and his website and stuff like that, social media. So check that out. What do you think, Don?
It's really sad to see artists that we grew up listening to end up in dire straits like this. I'm really happy that he's had the long career that he's had. I was really excited that I got to see him a couple times. He was my second concert that I ever went to, so it's really he's made a huge mark on the music industry, and it's going to be really sad to see him go.
Absolutely. And so if you get a chance, guys, and you have not seen Peter Frampton ever, go out and see him. Just an incredible entertainer.
Yeah.
He's very charming on stage, and his band is always top notch. And actually his other lead guitar player in the band, I'm not sure of the guy's name, but whoever he has in that role is always a kick-ass guitar player.
He seems like he's the person that has the most fun I've seen on stage. He seems like he's really enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely, because he came out and he did a couple songs with the Steve Miller Band when I saw them last year, and he just had a ball. You could tell that guy his love for music. So give him a chance. Go out there, check it out if you haven't checked him out, and if you have seen Peter Frampton, you'll know exactly what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So
best of luck to Peter Frampton, and get out there and enjoy him, you guys. Dylan, you got something on the front here.
Yeah, we talked about the Damned Things a couple news items ago, and they have released a brand new song called Cells, and they announced that they are coming out with a new album, High Crimes, on April 26th. And the most exciting thing for me, it is confirmed that Dan Andriano from Alkaline Trio is now their bassist. So it's really cool to see even more of my favorite bands coming into this awesome supergroup.
Yeah, and Rob Caggiano's not in there anymore either.
Rob is out. Yeah, I think he's probably too busy with Volbeat or
Volbeat's in the studio right now too.
Yeah, because he's big with them now.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. That album, the first one that came out, Iconoclast?
It's a name similar to that. I can't remember the exact phrasing
Iconist or something like that. It's really good. There's a lot of really cool stuff on there. Of course, Scott Ian from Anthrax is one of the main guys in that band. And just a great... It's not metal. It's
a crazy hybrid of metal and alternative
and a little hardcore maybe.
Yeah, there's a whole lot. I mean, you have members of Fall Out Boy, Anthrax, and Alkaline Trio in the band right now. It's all over the place. Did you listen to the new song?
I did. I checked it out, and the video's crazy.
Yeah.
If you're a little squeamish about violence and shit like that, don't watch it. But it's really cool. And like at the end, you're like, holy shit! At the end, so I won't just watch it, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But the song was really good, and I'm really looking forward to it. I enjoyed that band, and I think that came out in 2011 maybe.
It was a long time ago. It was during Fall Out Boy's hiatus, so I think it was even before 2011.
Oh, are they still a thing?
Fall Out Boy, yeah, they're back, and they're horrible right now.
Oh, okay.
They got nominated for a Grammy, but it's a really bad album they got nominated for.
In what category?
It was Best Rock Album.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
they lost though, so
we'll see. Maybe the Academy is getting something a little right. They didn't at least let them guys win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and one more quick thing here. UFO has announced their last U.S. tour with Phil Moog. Whether they will continue on without him, I don't know. Probably not. I would say he's the only consistent member in UFO since they've begun. I think they have 22 studio albums, and he's the only guy that's been on all of them. So he is absolutely the voice of UFO, and I have not gotten a chance to see those guys. We were supposed to see them 2 years ago.
Yeah.
With Saxon.
It was on April 1st.
Yeah, and we ended up seeing Last in Line that night, and because the show was sold out. But
and I thought you were playing an April Fool's joke on me.
No.
Oh, the show's sold out. We can't go. I'm like, oh, that's funny.
No, I wasn't. I wish I was. But we did get to see Last in Line, which also kicked ass, and they have a new album out, Last in Line 2. Excellent album. Did you listen to that yet? Did you know?
The Last in Line? No. Did that just come out?
It came out last weekend.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
That didn't
it's very
pop up
good. I mean, there's some solos on there that just like blow your head off. Excellent. So check that out. But as far as UFO goes, the show that we would be going to see is I want to say November 1st. I think it's at Penn's Peak, and Blue Oyster Cult is the opening band for that show.
Oh, that's cool.
And two of the shows that they're playing, Armored Saint is the opening act for that, which I would rather see Armored Saint than Blue Oyster Cult.
You need to listen to Blue Oyster Cult's first couple albums because they blew me away when I just re-listened.
No, I do. I have a reason for not liking Blue Oyster Cult, and it has nothing to do with their music.
Is it Saturday Night Live?
No, it's not Saturday Night Live.
Okay, good, because that's a funny sketch.
It was a high school thing.
Oh, okay.
And so I need to get that out of my head.
Yeah, separate it. Come on.
Yeah, and separate it.
Yeah.
Do a little
Offspring.
I was going to say outfield, but maybe that was wrong.
Got to keep them separated.
Yeah. So you guys check that out. Check out the Dirt trailer and the song. And actually, I think there's 4 new songs going to be in this movie. And they did a cover of Madonna's Like a Virgin.
Really?
That's going to be on the soundtrack, so I'm sure
awesome.
It'll be in the movie somewhere. So God only knows what that's going to sound like.
That is, I'm really excited about that because I like the song.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I did not know that. I like that song. I like Madonna a lot, but that is going to be really. So Vince Neil is going to be singing Madonna's lyrics.
I guess.
Huh? And now this movie, I'm assuming it's going to be like a lip syncing thing similar to Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'm sure. It's got to be.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
No,
as long as they have the rights to the band, because it's always awkward seeing a biopic and they can't play any of the songs from the band.
Yeah. That's like the Bang Tango has a documentary about them, and there's not one note of Bang Tango music.
That's an official documentary. It's crazy.
And there's not one stitch of their music in there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is cool though. So check that out. So check out the Crew, the Dirt movie and song right now.
Yep.
Go check out Peter Frampton live this summer, coming to an amphitheater near you.
Yep.
And the Damn Thing's coming out. The album's called what though?
Oh God. See, the song is called Cells. The album is called High Crimes.
High Crimes.
Coming out April 26th.
April 26th, so that's cool. And check out UFO on their last US tour. And like I said, some shows with Blue Oyster Cult and a couple with Armored Saint. And with that, we will slide right back into the show. All right, that's our news for the week. And if you guys are listening to our episode last year, when we had Mark and Ken on, we were talking about all things vinyl, and we're going to continue that tradition this week. And we're going to pick our top 5 vinyl picks from 2018, stuff that we picked up that are going to, that we thought were some of our best picks. They don't have to be new albums. They could be an album from 1930 that you liked and you picked up and you're like, holy shit, I finally picked up this Benny Goodman album or something. We probably won't be having any Benny Goodman on the episode here. Wow, we've never talked about Benny Goodman before.
It's the first.
I don't know. Ken could be the wild card here. Maybe get some Glenn Miller or something from Ken. What we'll do is we'll give our vinyl pick. We'll talk about it a little bit. Talk about why it's kind of special to you.
Your vinyl picks, we will post pictures of them in case there's any colored vinyl or any detail that you want to show the audience that we can't convey over an audio medium.
That's true. Thank you.
That'll be on Facebook.
Thank you. Ken, why don't you give us your first pick here? What do you got for us, buddy?
My first pick is an album that I did have the first go around, the late 70s, early 80s, when I got it, by the Scorpions. I rebought it again recently because all my vinyl was pretty much traded in for CDs back in the late 80s, early 90s, something like that.
I feel your pain.
So yeah, I decided to go out. So what I did though is I went to try to find an original Love Drive, the first pressing. This came out in 1979. The deal is about this. It had the special, and I'll show it to you here. This red cover, it's not your normal clear plastic, it's red. So you could not see what was going on.
Oh, the cover. Oh, okay.
If you remember the cover, that's the one where they're like in the back seat of a limousine or whatever, and the guy had
the bubble gum
or whatever off of the woman's breast, and it was stretched out.
Ah. I've seen the cover a ton of times, but I've never seen the red over it. That's
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, this is how it came originally. So it's someone had kept it intact, and I bought it, found it and bought it. I thought that's kind of cool to have it in that original way, how they had it, and they had to put the sticker on the front to show the songs and so on here because you couldn't.
Oh, nothing even on the back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
you kind of
crazy.
see the picture of it, but it's they didn't want. I don't know. Scorpions are kind of had some covers that were controversial, I would say, especially with what was the name?
The Virgin Killer. Virgin
Killer. Yeah, that one was like okay. I won't even buy that one because of that cover. I think I was just like,
that's like
bad,
Yeah, that's. They may be arrested if they did that now.
Yeah, but the other reason to get this, I mean, it's just Scorpions, one of their better albums of that time, period, just rocking. I mean, they were coming into their own before they really hit it big.
Yeah, Michael Schenker on that one too.
Yeah, and songs like "Loving You Sunday Morning," "Another Piece of Meat," always summer, "Coast to Coast," which is that instrumental.
That's a great song.
Coast to Coast is awesome.
Can't Get Enough. Is There Anybody Out There? Which is actually, most people don't know, but it's a really good song. Then Love Drive and Holiday. Fantastic.
That's a big song.
Yeah, fantastic song. So, yeah, I mean, I had to get it again on vinyl, and this one sounds fantastic. I mean, it's a good copy, and I like this kind of unique cover of the album. Before they changed the cover again. From that, they changed to just the it's like
the black cover with the blue scorpion on it.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just a black.
That's the one I have.
So they decide, well, we can't keep just putting this red piece of plastic on it. It's they repressed it and changed the cover, so it worked out.
Right, great pick, excellent pick. Yeah, I have the other version, the black cover with the blue scorpion on. And actually, I was going through my albums, and that's one that I had. The one that I have is the original one that I had from that, and really, and it's a great album. Like you said, the songs. I mean, they could. That'd be a cool album for them to go back and like play the whole album live.
Oh yeah,
that'd be phenomenal.
That'd be great.
All right, great pick, Ken. Scorpions Love Drive, the original thing. It's got the. I've never even seen that before with the red cover on it before. So we will, and like Dylan said before, everybody out there, we will post pictures of all these albums, so you guys can get a visual of what we're doing here. Mark, what do you got for us, my friend?
Okay, well, all the ones that I picked are pretty much they're all picked for certain reasons. Either they're, important to me, or there's something special to do with either a pressing or something like that. But the first one I'm going to pick is one that I got recently, like in 2018, actually. I do the Yes Music podcast, and what ended up happening is we interviewed a guy who was involved with Chris Squire before in a band before he joined Yes, or made Yes, which was called The Sin. And this band released some music back in the late 60s, and then later on they made a record with Chris Squire before he passed away, and I think it just got pressed now, or it got reissued now. I think it just actually got pressed now. It's a limited edition record, very hard to find. In fact, the singer, Steve Nordelli, the original singer who's still in the band now, actually ended up sending me a copy personally from his own collection of this. So that's why it's kind of a very special thing to me.
Well, that's cool.
And the band is called The Sin, and the album is called Sin Destructible. Now, if you look at the back, you'll see Chris Squire is right there.
Now, what year did this come out?
This came out in 2018. Yeah, it came out in November of 2018. It was recorded probably like a couple of years back. Here's like a gatefold of it, right? But they just released it now on vinyl. It's funny because the record label that released this is called Plain Groovy. And they released quite a few bands of interest. And it's funny because the guy who runs this label is actually a commercial airline pilot for Virgin Airlines. That's why he calls it Plain Groovy. And it's funny though. He's pretty. I think the proper term is loaded. So what he ends up doing is that he, contacts bands that he likes and helps them release their albums. And from what I understand, he gives them really great deals as far as like royalty and stuff like that for releasing their albums. So good for them, whoever gets on his label to do it. This is just a standard black vinyl version of it. I can just put that there. And it was pressed really, really, really well. Like you can tell that this guy really puts attention to detail on this. As far as the pressing of it sounds really, really well done. I mean, I put it on the turntable, and like not a single drop or hint of any kind of crackle or pop or static. I mean, obviously, I'm guessing if this guy, is doing this out of the love of music, he would be one of those kind of guys that probably, is standing over the guys at the pressing plant and going, no, I want it to sound good. Like he's probably one of those really anal guys, which is good. You want somebody like that to break their balls to make sure that it sounds good. Because, some of these records could cost like upwards to 30, 40, 50 bucks, right?
Right.
And you don't want to get a record like that, put it on your turntable and it's all scratchy to shit, right? So, good for them. I mean, it comes also with a download code too as well in here. And what's cool about the download code for this record, if you can ever find a copy of this online, is it gives you a segment of video that shows like a documentary about the record, talking about Chris Squire, and there's also a 45-minute segment of a concert that they did at the Marquee Club in London, England, with Chris Squire. So not only do you get the record, but you get video as well that you can check out if you buy the record. So, and like I said, this is something I've never seen in a record store. So your best chances of getting this is to go on Discogs and just look up The Sin and check it out. I mean, musically, it's very, along the lines of Yes. I mean, you have a lot of the harmonized vocals like Yes does. I mean, you can hear Chris Squire all over this. And I mean, just to give you like a quick example, like one of the songs called The Promise is like 14 minutes long. There's like a 9-minute song, 8-minute song. So it's like Yes, but an earlier kind of incarnation of it before they actually formed Yes. So great record. I really love it. I still listen to it now quite a bit. So for me, it's a really important album for 2018, not only because I got it, but because I got to interview the guy, Steve Nordelli, and he gave us a really great interview for our podcast.
Cool. Mark, maybe shop Project Gemini to this dude. Maybe he'll hook you up.
Well, I'm thinking about contacting him to maybe do like a UK release version of one of the records, or maybe even do like a 12-inch single that's UK only. You know what I mean? Like something along those
Something
lines.
different.
Because I know a guy who's also on his label who said he might give me a good word in for it. So you never know. Maybe I might be able to do a special kind of UK only thing that could be even more collectible for you guys, right?
That'd be great. I'm in. Let me know.
You too.
Oh, I will let you. Obviously, you guys are always on my mailing list there. So
Absolutely. All right, cool. BC, what do you got up for us here, my friend?
Nothing too new, but I was on the
Let me
fence.
move this.
I was on the fence about getting this for quite some time, but it broke down last December, and I got the blue version of the Rest in Peace by Megadeth, because it's now I have the original copy, and then a few years back, Capitol Records reissued the vinyl, just like black, nothing fancy, and then I believe this is supposed to be Sound of Vinyl.
Okay.
is it the remix or
No, it's just
remaster?
Probably.
it's remastered, but on blue vinyl.
Nice.
And it was Sound of Music. Is it Sound of Vinyl?
Sound of Vinyl.
Yeah.
Sound of Vinyl US.
Sound of
He's,
Music.
yeah.
That's
he's off the
a,
contract.
Sound of Music, yeah.
Sound of Vinyl had it, and I suppose it was only they were the only ones that had it. So I said, I was on the fence for a while, and I broke down and got it December. So I said, what the hell? Why not?
Yeah, that's a good release. I actually had that I picked up the same thing. I had that in my hand and bring that today. I'm like, nah, BC's probably gonna bring this album, so I didn't. I like that.
I broke.
What's your guys' feelings, Mark and Ken, on the Mark? I know you're for the colored vinyl. Do you think that it alters the sound at all, you guys, or do you think it just matters of how it's mastered or mixed?
Nowadays, I think the color vinyl, the color has no issue on it. Years back, there was always some kind of debate about whether the colored vinyl made the record sound noisier. But I mean, like I said before, and I think I mentioned this once before, my father was big on the repair of these pressing plant machines. So I used to go with him to these plants. And what's greatly changed is the attention to dirt detail and dust in these plants. So that's improved vastly over the years. And also one thing that people don't realize is that black vinyl, if you see those documentaries where they're pressing the records, you see that cutting machine that cuts off all the piece up on the outside edges and drops it into the bin. Yeah, and those things get regrinded and reused again for albums. That's rarely done with colored vinyl. They don't like doing that with it. So really, you have a chance of getting a better sounding color vinyl now, because they don't usually use the regrind or the color too much, right? And because of that, you're getting always that virgin material, and it usually sounds a lot better, because every once in a while you might get a black record that has a combination of the virgin and the regrind with it now, and then, sometimes you get color variations, and sometimes that's how they make those splatter vinyls. They might take sometimes occasionally those trims off the other colored ones, grind them up, grab a handful of each, throw them on there, and then you get a splatter vinyl out of it, right? So, but I think the color, it's no issue now.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's any really issues with the color today. Most of the vinyl plants today are pretty good, most of them, I think. And most of them you don't even hear any noise in between the grooves on a lot of the stuff that's pressed now. So, yeah, I think there was an issue, like Mark said, back in the day. There could have been some colored vinyl that maybe had dust in it, or who knows what got into it. Again, with the black stuff, you don't know. They weren't as strict back then on how they produce them. They were just trying to put them out as fast as possible back then. So, yeah, most of the new stuff, like what you got right there, I'm sure that sounds, fantastic.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It does. It's a great sounding album.
Yeah, well, I mean, it should too, because I just looked this up really quickly. Apparently, it says that this is only 3,000 made of this Sound of Vinyl version, and it's mastered at Capitol Records, and it was actually done by Ron McMaster. So he's the one who also did a lot of the Kiss reissue vinyl as well. So Ron McMaster is a very good remastering engineer, so you must have a really good sounding copy there.
That's cool, and I have one too, so that I'm even happy also. Good job, BC. For my pick, I picked the Japanese version of Paradise Theater. I was able to grab that when we were down in Nashville at the Rock and Pod Expo, and it's got it's got the Japanese band around the side of it. This album, I've been looking for this album for quite a while. I was able to pick it up like I said, in Nashville at the Rock and Pod Expo, and it's got the regular vinyl. It's got the label for both sides on there, but if you flip it over on side 2, I don't know if you could see it. It's etched.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
It's the etched
Yeah,
version.
the original ones had it as well.
Yeah, it has sticks etched on there, and it's really cool. I've been kind of looking for that for a while. If you take out the lyric sheet on it, it's all in Japanese, which makes it a little difficult to check out the lyrics. But
is this a new one or new pressing, or is it an older one?
no, this is the old one from 1980, original pressing. But it does have the original cover though. They just put that insert, the lyric insert in Japanese on the inside, but on the gatefold, it does have the lyrics in there.
Yeah.
And typical Paradise Theater. It's got the theater in its heyday on the front, and then the old broken down version on the back. And it's a great album. And when I picked this up, I hadn't listened to the album in a long time, and I forgot what great songs are on there besides the hits that you hear Rockin' the Paradise and Too Much Time on My Hands, Best of Times. But songs like Lonely People, Snowblind, They'll Play Once in a While, Halfpenny, Two Penny, and there's some great stuff on there that a lot of people don't know the songs. So it's a great album. This was one that me and my buddy Rob always rocked to when it came out, and I was looking for this version of it, and I just happened to come across the Japanese version of it, and it was a reasonable price. I picked it up.
Can you hold it up again for a second? I want to see the Obi. Can you show me the Obi strip?
What's that?
The front.
Oh,
that little strip
On
there.
the front there, on the front left. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that I have it right here in front of me, the information on that. So that was done by Victor Music in Japan, and it was mastered at Sterling Sound by Ted Jansen. So they got a U.S. Mastered version of it sent over to Japan, and I guess Victor Records pressed it from there. Which is kind of odd because sometimes they get their own guy to master those ones.
Really?
But so I'm guessing that obviously Ted Jansen being a very well known and respected mastering guy, they probably just took his plates and pressed them. Because back in the 80s, they probably weren't as anal about sending stuff across the sea like that.
Right. Cool. All right. Styx Paradise Theater for me. Ken, what do you got up next for us?
My next pick is an album another album that I restocked last year after getting rid of the original one. But I didn't have this version of it. What it is Dire Straits, Brother in Arms. Let's see it here. This one, and it has a sticker on here. It says Quiet X2 limited edition pressing up here. And what that is kind of like audiophile type deal. I think these were promotional copies that were done that way. There was this Quiet X2 deal that was going on back then that certain albums were pressed in a kind of a better virgin vinyl kind of deal on quality, right? And this one down here, it does say lent for promotional use only, so etc. But this is this album is one of those albums that I remember that just sounded so great on vinyl. I mean, just the sound quality. And I'm trying to remember who mastered this one. I probably have to look it up, but it sounds so darn good. It just jumps out of the speakers. And it has your normal lyric sheet and so on it. And then you have, this is a vinyl real quick. So they had
Bob Ludwig.
Bob Ludwig. So you can't go wrong with Bob Ludwig. And
That's a name you see on a lot.
The center label.
That's cool.
Custom label. Nice design. It's basically the same on both sides, the label. But, everyone knows this one. It was a huge album, with songs like So Far Away, Money for Nothing, Walk of Life, Walk Worry, fantastic songs, Brother Arms. I mean, just a great sounding record. And it's not floppy like you get some of those old ones,
Right.
You can hear them like a saw or whatever. And actually, there it is. I just see the RL. So the RL stamp on the Run Out Groove for Robert Ludwig, which is Bob Ludwig. So again, if you want something that just sounds freaking great on your turntable, this is one to get, and get the one by Bob Ludwig. Yeah.
There's also some more info on this too. The Quaix 2 limited edition promo is a vinyl that's a dark see-through translucent. Apparently, it says that it's this record was pressed at Allied Record Company, and the way you can figure that out is that in the run out there's an A stamp there that sometimes is mistaken for a Q on there, and that signifies Allied Record Pressing. Now there's also an SLM. There's also SLM there. And that means that the lacquered disc processing the metal parts were done at Sheffield Lab Matrix.
Okay? Yeah, mine says SLM.
Yeah, and that stuff, the metal parts were done by John Dent at the Sound Clinic there. And then Bob Ludwig was the one who actually mastered it, and John Dent did all the metal parts for it, sent it to Allied Pressing, and that's why it sounds so incredible. Apparently people say that when they get new stereo systems, they bring that record with them to test
this record. Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is one of those that just sounds so freaking good. If you like any of the songs on it, just get it just for the sound of it alone.
I'm gonna have to look for that now. I actually highlighted it on my list, so I'm gonna have to look for that one now. Great, excellent pick. Mark, what do you got next for us?
Well, as people probably know, I'm a big Frank Zappa fan. Now, in the continuing saga of the family trust, I think things have boiled down between the brothers. I think they're on talking terms again, because there was a point there where they were just like battling it out. They were suing each other, so on and so forth, about the use of the Zappa name and so on. It was mainly because of Gail, Frank's wife. She had a stranglehold on the whole kind of business end of it, and now that she passed away, I think they finally realized who the real wicked witch of the whole process was, and they went ahead now and continued doing their business. Dweezil's out doing Zappa Plays Zappa, which is fantastic, and they're now releasing more of the back catalog. Now, the one I took is one of the records that most people either love or hate with Zappa. I think his catalog is mainly like that, but I took out Chunga's Revenge. This record is really cool. I like this record a lot, mainly because this is when he had Flo and Eddie singing for him on this. And those guys are nuts. And on stage, they were like incredible. If you ever see Zappa concerts when they were singing, I mean, you can't go through like 20 minutes of watching him without cracking up with the antics that those guys are doing on stage is unbelievable. But they were such good singers. Man, like that one guy, he can hit notes in the stratosphere that would make Sebastian Bach go, wow, dude. Like, like it was unbelievable how this guy could sing, So, but a great record. You can always tell you have the reissue because they have these kind of signature Zappa record labels involved on it. There's a lot of info in the dead wax down here. You'll see like Zappa, www.zappa.com in there, and there's a BG etched in it, which means Bernie Grundman, has been doing this. Now the thing is, they haven't been sticking exclusively with Bernie Grundman. They've also had Robert Ludwig has done some of their stuff in the catalog. Also, they've taken old plates and masters from what's his name? It's gonna bug me now. I don't remember his name. But anyways, and there was another renowned guy who was doing mastering, and they used some of his stuff as well. So they've been just trying to get the best sounding stuff. And what they've been always being very honest about, which I think is fantastic from a collector's point of view, is at the bottom of either the CD or the record, they'll put, and I don't know if I can show it here. Yeah, it's really small. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but down at the bottom right here, you see that little kind of red text that's written there. Now, what that says is source is original 1970 analog master. Now, the big thing with collectors is the source analog that we're making the vinyl from, right? Because what Zappa's been honest about throughout all the pressings of this is that they haven't been able to use only analog. They sometimes have to go from a digital source, and that was done by Frank Zappa himself, because like he would say very angeredly to most media people, he's like, well, don't be stupid. If my quarter-inch reel tape is falling apart and the oxide's coming off of it, do you really want me to make a vinyl pressing off of that? So before that starts happening, he'll bake it, take a good last copy off of it, put it onto a digital format, and the digital format will last considerably longer, right? So there are some albums that were re-released on vinyl that came from a digital source, but from the ones that they could salvage the quarter-inch analog, they did do that, like this record. They did have the 1970 original quarter-inch analog master. And even some of the older ones, they were very shocked, like Lumpy Gravy, like a really early record, which is like his first actual solo record, which is considered the third in his discography. And what I like about this era of Zappa is, besides the fact that Flo and Eddie are singing on it, is the fact that he kind of steered away from the kind of crazy like music, like here and there, like those little odd parts and music that makes you go, what the hell is he trying to do here? He kind of stuck toward more the kind of rock and roll kind of music, and it's really much more rockin' and cool. And some of the lyrics though are a little, touchy with some people, because he has like songs like Road Ladies, which gets really graphic about what he does with road ladies and stuff like that, right? But it's really good. I think this is a must-have, and if you want a good sounding record, then these are the versions to get. They'll even say to you, don't even bother with some of the originals. They sound like garbage, some of them. There's a really nice website on the internet that goes through all the kind of different pressings from Canada, Europe, everywhere, country by country, and it tells you like there's mistakes in ones, they have the wrong mixes in one, the panning is incorrect on one, the stereo spectrum is off. So they really cleaned up the whole catalog and made it the way Frank wanted. So don't bother with some of the old ones and paying like $500 for a 1967 copy. Go for something like this. It sounds better, and it's correct in every way, shape, and form.
Cool. Mark, now I know there's probably not a big, huge fan base in our listeners of Frank Zappa, but if you were to recommend an album to get someone started that would maybe spark their interest, what album would you recommend? Apostrophe
is a good one, and Overnight Sensation. Both of those ones are really rock and rollish, like hard, like bordering on a hard rock, like really cool songs, and the topic is very, hard rock. It's like if you like AC/DC and like stuff like that, it doesn't sound like AC/DC, but it's more that way where it's like a lot more just like electric guitars,
like a feel,
a little bit more straight 4/4, yeah, and it's cool stuff. Like it's those are the records from Zappa that you can take to a party where there's lots of beer and pot going on, and people would be cool with it, right? So, but you can't do that with all of them. Like you can't bring like Mud Shark there. People are going, what the hell is this? Like there's no rhythm to it. It's all crazy and all over the place, But those two you can definitely get into. Overnight Sensation and Apostrophe.
Okay, yeah, because like the kind of all over the place kind of crazy shit. That's what immediately comes to mind for me when I hear Frank Zappa, and and I can honestly say I cannot name even one song by him, but I will check those out though. I always wondered what the fascination was. I've never listened to him, And
You would be really surprised, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Put on one of those 2 records, you'll be very surprised.
I will check them out, absolutely. BC. Actually, BC and I are going to combine, because we didn't know what either one was picking, so we're going to combine our pick as the same album.
Okay.
But it's 3 different versions. Go ahead, BC.
Oh, here we go.
Be the Ace Frehley Spaceman. I picked up the orange because I'm attracted to orange for some reason.
Did you just say you're attracted to oranges?
Orange. The color orange, not oranges. But I mean, this is one of my surprise. I mean, not totally surprised. I was surprised how good it came out when it came out last year. How good the album was. As we always joke around here, it's Ace Frehley. But I was really surprised how good this album was. So I got the orange copy.
And Mark, and I know you're, I'm not sure of Ken's feelings on this, but I know I think Mark and I are on the same page that Ace always gets cut more slack than anybody else in the band. Mm-hmm. And he's let off the hook for a lot of shit. But this album, I think, is a validly great album. And I'm combining like 3 albums into this because I have all 3 versions. I have the Ace, the orange one, autographed.
Nice.
Which I have to thank my lovely wife. I had the blue. I'll show you the blue in a minute. And the regular version is like a silver, gray kind of silver. But I had those other 2, and I didn't have the orange. And there was 1 copy at our local record store. And I mentioned to Dylan that, man, I need to get that. And it was, more expensive than your average album. And so he had her pick it up. But then when they had the Kiss Expo in New Jersey, she got the album to my buddy Chris Granza that's been on the podcast a bunch of times. She got the album to him, paid him the money to get it autographed. So Ace signed it, and that was the show where actually I meant to have this as one of my picks too. But so Chris did double duty on that one. He got my Ace album signed for my wife for Christmas, and he also completed my first Kiss album. I bought the 2014 version, the remastered one. This year I was able to get every original Kiss member to sign that album. I had Gene sign at the Vault Experience. I had Peter Criss sign it about 2 weeks later, and he called Gene an asshole because Gene signed where Peter usually signs on the album. So he called him an asshole about that. So I had those 2 on there. And Chris hooked me up also. He took me when he met Paul Stanley when he bought a painting on the Kiss cruise, and you were only able to have one thing signed, and he allowed me to bring my Kiss album to get signed, so Paul signed it there. So the only one needed was Ace, and then Chris also took my Kiss album to the Expo to get Ace's signature on it, so he got Ace's signature on this album for my wife for Christmas, and then he completed my set on the first Kiss album, which is displayed on my wall, which I'll post that also online. But I also picked up the blue version, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, which I know BC's attracted to orange, but I personally like the blue version better. And I think the blue version is the best cover of the 3 of them. Mm-hmm. I like the kind of in your face, here's Ace just kind of hanging out kind of vibe of it, and then the regular version, the one that's out there, I'm sure you guys are familiar with, that is the silver version of it. And so, like a dorky Kiss fan, I have all 3 of them, like the Kiss geeks.
There's a magenta one too.
That some of us are. Oh, is there really?
Magenta one.
Well,
Here we go again.
The search continues.
Ain't that a regular black one?
That's the European
regular
one.
black one too.
oh,
Right.
you have to get it exported. It's a European one.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Well, thanks, guys.
2K.
I'll have to check that out. So that's mine and BC's combined pick for our second pick is the Ace Frehley Spaceman album, the orange and the silver, the original one, and the blue one. So, according to Mark and Ken, I need to continue my search.
Orange, you glad that Mark mentioned the magenta one?
I got the silver one. That's the only one I could find. I couldn't find the orange or the other one.
I know the orange is indie retail exclusive, I think.
Yeah, and I went to a few indie stores, and most of them. Well, this is the thing I tried to explain to some hardcore Kiss people, which who will remain nameless on the air here. I think some of you will know who.
You know who you are.
Oh,
But these people don't seem to realize that just because they think Kiss is the be-all, end-all of the world, that not every record store thinks the same way, because I went to a few of them and said, hey, do you guys have the Ace Frehley indie, edition, the orange one? And they're like, Ace Frehley? No. They're like, looked at me like, Ace Frehley? Like,
Get the hell out
What are
of
you
here.
talking about?
you know what I mean? Like, they're more like, well, if you ask me about some Grateful Dead record like that, then we're talking. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Kind of
Ugh.
thing. Like, then that's the thing. Some people don't look at it the same way.
Yep,
Like, I
depends
love
on where
Kiss
you're
as
at.
much as you guys do, right? So, but I mean, not all record stores think that way, unfortunately, and I wasn't able to get it because of it. But it is a great record. I'm gonna say that it's probably my favorite Ace record after the '78 album.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a well done album, and he's apparently recording Origins Part 2 right now.
Origins 2.
Yeah, and the blue version of that, Mark, was the only I've never seen it in a store anywhere. I ordered that one online, and when it came, there's a download card with it. It's kind of like credit card type material, and there's one in each one. So I have all three of those cards too. And this one the blue one came with a pick. I didn't get the autographed one because I didn't feel like paying like $40 more just for the signature on it. But I was glad to get all three. So Ace Frehley, Spaceman. Go ahead, Ken.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
Oh no! I have it too. I have like Mark the silver edition. I could have gotten the orange one, and then I said, you know what? Yeah, but too much. Too much duplicates of Ace's copy. I'm not as much as a completist on the Ace stuff as I am with maybe getting the Kiss stuff.
And I'm not either, really. The only
They put out the
Yeah.
one extra vinyl.
I have the '78, the reissue that they did of the Frehley's Comet one. I think that's another blue vinyl. I want to say, like it's like maybe like a light blue. And this one, but I don't have Anomaly or Space Invader, which Space Invader I'll probably get. Anomaly I'm not that crazy about. But
Yeah.
cool. Ken, what do you got next for us?
I have something, and as Mark knows, I like my promotional copies of stuff. This is a 1978 album, second album for the late great Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It's the You're Gonna Get It album, second album, right before he really went big with
Great album.
Damn the Torpedoes, which came after this. But the unique thing about this, and this is a great copy. I was looking for this, and actually this copy came from a radio DJ that was in the SF, San Francisco Bay Area. So it was one of his copies. I think he said it probably played once, because it sounds great now. Has a normal inner, nice cardboard inner cover of it, and this kind of unique picture here, artsy type picture photo. But the unique thing about this, the original promo album as it came out was pressed on, we're talking about color vinyl.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, kind of a marbled color. It's like a off red. It's translucent, and otherwise you couldn't. I mean, the regular buying public could not buy this because it was a promotional album. Only the radio stations got it and that sort of thing. Reviewers maybe. So this is I want to get it. Another great album, music from Tom Petty. Can't miss too much. I mean, the biggest hit off of this one was I Need to Know. But it had other songs like Listen to Her Heart, which is a big hit. Restless, another one, well known. What else we got on here? When the time comes, You're Gonna Get It. Hurt, Magnolia, and Too Much Ain't Enough. I mean, it's just a great rock and roll, album. Lots of good music. I think I like the second side better than the first side. It's one of those where first side's pretty good. The second side is just, to me, it's great. I just love that second side. But this is just a nice, clean copy of the album. Again, I like the unique stuff like that. If I can get it, the promo stuff. Usually the promo stuff, when you get it, is the better quality or better mastered stuff. The original mastering, instead of like represses sometimes, or different person mastering it, and it may not sound as good. So
Yeah.
I recommend it.
Oh, there's the
Yeah,
the iconic logo.
usually those ones are, the early promos are the ones that are off the press first. So they're nice and the metal presses are nice and sharp, and they can make the nice pressing of it right off the bat. Those are the ones you want. And this one, if I'm not mistaken, is mastered by Ken Perry. And according to the information that I have, it says that in the Dead Wax, it says mastered by Capitol Records, and you also have a couple messages in there. One that says, "Are you here?" on there, and on the other side, apparently, it says headphones with a question mark beside it.
Yeah,
cool.
I do. You're right. That is on the center, the runout groove. So yeah.
So it's interesting. It does say here that promo issue for radio only, pressed on red translucent vinyl. So, and it is not the easiest to find, and it is pretty pricey. So you have a good collector piece there, Ken.
Yeah. They're out there. You can find them, but you'll have to put some dollars down.
Cool. Ken,
Definitely.
my brother-in-law would love you. He was a diehard Tom Petty fan. And, maybe this will actually get him to listen to the podcast.
There you go.
Tell him we do an album on here. Great pick, though. Excellent pick. Hey, if you don't like Tom Petty, you don't like rock and roll. I'm sorry.
Right.
Awesome pick, though. Mark, what do you got up next, my friend?
Next, we're going to get into my sort of love of prog music, and we're not talking about early prog music. Now we're going to be talking about records that are in the 2000 era, this one specifically. But as most people know, me being one of these independent artists that does everything himself, records everything, every last detail by himself, vocals, instruments, everything, engineers, mix, masters. One of my two biggest idols musically, as far as that, because they do similar things, is Arian Lucassen from Arion. He's one of the big guys that I've loved because he's similar. He writes these grandiose things, does pretty much 90% of it himself. And the other guy is Steven Wilson. Steven Wilson, as we all know, had a band for a long time called Porcupine Tree. And this album, Fear of a Blank Planet, is one of those brilliant records that he made. And this is from 2007. Steven Wilson, I don't know how familiar you guys are with his work, but he's very unapologetic about a lot of things when it comes to making music. Number one, he's one of these guys who frowns on mastering engineers. He says that mastering engineers sometimes are the people that ruin his music, he thinks, because he says that as a musician who writes everything from the top to bottom and has a vision of his record from beginning to end, that he says that he has a certain sound in mind when he's making an album. He says he gets to the point where he mixes it and he would give it off to a mastering guy. They'd give it back to him and he'd be like, "What the hell is going on here? What the hell did you do to my record?" Like, he would be always angered by it. So he has now gotten to the point he doesn't get his albums mastered anymore. That he does what's called he gets flat masters. He does the mix, and all he does is just do a kind of small kind of limiting where he just boosts the volume up so that it's equal level to what he thinks an album should be volume-wise, and then that's it. So he doesn't really do much mastering as far as that goes, because he feels that his final mix versions of the record are the way that the record should sound, and so he doesn't do mastering of it. So really, in one way, it's kind of good, because if you go and buy his records now, you don't need to hunt for a certain, mastered version by a certain person, because he does them all, and every version of it is going to be like that.
You get what you get.
Yeah, because he says that that's the way his albums, he wants them to sound, and that's that. So I really like his records. They're very progressive. You have like 17-minute songs on here, 7-minute, 5-minute. Like the shortest song on here is like 5 minutes long, but it's really good. The audio is recorded really well, and if you like this kind of progressive rock that's very much influenced by like older Genesis and ES and King Crimson and stuff like that, but has a more rock and roll edge to it, then you're going to really like this kind of stuff. I mean, just fantastic musicians on here that played on these albums. So I can't recommend it highly enough. So that's one of my top picks. And I mean, he's been reissuing all his albums now of late, as far back as the Porcupine Tree stuff. So if you like that kind of stuff, I would definitely recommend getting it.
Awesome. Porcupine Tree. They're a band that I've heard you mention before, and I downloaded a couple albums just to check out a couple songs. Definitely interesting music. It's kind of an acquired taste, I think, but really
sure.
like musically, like really like cool though.
Yeah.
But that album, I didn't see come up. I'll have to look for that. It was Fear. Well, True.
Fear of a Blank Planet. So it's a really, it's probably not a hard album to find, but it's just you can't miss it with that album, like that face on that
right.
record.
All right, good pick. BC, what do you got up next?
I don't know if you guys would be too familiar with my next pick. I've been a fan of Dangerous Toys since they came out back in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see them locally and stuff, and then always looking for vinyl because they always have like distinctive album covers. And we went to Nashville for the Rockin' Pod, and then Sunday we did the record expo, whatever.
This was the first year.
No, this is just this year.
Oh, was it this year? Oh, okay.
18.
I thought you got it last year. Oh no, that was the other one. Sorry.
Isn't the whole episode vinyl releases we got this year?
It is. I'm
That's
sorry.
it. Cut them off. But
Shut
it's
up,
a copy of Dangerous Toys, Pissed. I mean, to me, it's a great album with the Pissed, the Promise the Moon and Hard Luck Champion. Just, to me, good Dangerous Toys. But I never saw it on vinyl ever, so nothing really fancy. Just, and it's, hold on a minute. I don't know how to describe the color. It's a very...
Orange splatter.
It's kind of weird orange with...
like a green...
So it's like a tie-dye.
Almost like a tie-dye-ish type. It's different, but like I said,
Very cool.
They always have between their album covers and that, and they get it on vinyl, and I thought it was pretty cool, and one of my favorite ones from last year.
Great pick, BC. And
So like G.I. Joe with the choking hazard guns, is that?
Yes, it's definitely.
yeah. Two of my picks for this episode. There's going to be one now and one after we do our gem. Actually, I didn't pick up myself. These were BB actually picked these up for me, and this one I've been. There's so many different versions of the Kiss albums that come out that are you need this version and that version, but one that I always was kind of intrigued by was the in quotations the Teardrop Rock and Roll Over. And I don't know if you can. Where's Paul? There we go. You can see right under his left eye. You got the teardrop there, and it was weird because BB knew I was looking for it, and like right out of the blue, he said, "Hey, I got something for you." So he brought it down, and I'm like, "Holy shit! Where'd you get that?" And the vinyl is like pretty pristine. There's no big gouges in it or anything like that, and it sounds fantastic, and I think it's a great pick. It's one of them that the Kiss nerd and us have kind of been looking for, and I was glad to get it. It was nice of BB to pick it up for me. So the Kiss Rock and Roll Over Teardrop album, and we all know Kiss Rock and Roll Over.
That one is off of it's an RCA club.
Yeah, music. It's RCA.
Right? Yeah,
it's actually
it's a
pressed
club record. If you joined the RCA, music club and buy a bunch of albums for or 10 cents or whatever it was. But that one was pressed by or manufactured by RCA.
RCA Music, right there.
So it was an error.
Right, and I mean, I think besides
it's an error that's a teardrop.
Yeah. And I think besides Destroyer, you could consider this like the iconic Kiss album cover, Rock and Roll Over.
Oh yeah,
and just fantastic.
Never mention that album again.
I'm sorry, but Mark's the big, and I said the cover now, not the album itself. No, Yeah, Mark is not a Destroyer fan. But that's another debate for another day.
The thing is, Mark has great expectations about Kiss, and it didn't meet him.
Great expectation. I get it.
In his flaming youth, he really didn't understand it. So yeah,
Just wanted to
that's
have a rock and roll party.
that's my next pick, and
That's good. Yeah, I have a copy of that. One copy of that one. It's probably not as good shape as yours. Yours looks pretty darn good.
I was surprised at the shape it was in.
Yeah. It's some people thought, oh yeah, they purposely did it that way, but no, it was an accident, and they just didn't catch it, or it looked like it.
Yeah,
it was meant
looks
to
like a
be
teardrop.
there,
Yeah.
really.
Does anybody know how many copies there actually are of this out there? I'm sure there's a shitload of them, but like.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any information about that. There is a lot of information about the fact that it was in fact a printing press error that occurred to make that tier, but there's no real amount issued to it. It wasn't like a specifically made one, like we're gonna make 10,000 with this
Right.
teardrop. I think they just did it and that was it. And the funny thing is too that it is a record club version, but where it was actually pressed is actually at the RCA record pressing plant in Indianapolis, so that also attached itself to that as well. So
Kind of narrows it down.
it's a very popular collector's piece. But one thing will give it away about how many there are out there, because of the fact that it's not one of these records that are like $100 or $80 to get now. You can go online on Discogs and find them for as low as $6. So there's got to be a lot of them
Right.
floating around out there.
Yeah, I think this one was purchased for like $12, I think.
Yeah.
And
That's a
and
good- that's a good deal because they go for one.
yeah, and even
like
the
eBay,
inside
they're
cover
really
is great.
pricey.
Yeah. So all right, you guys. There's we got three for Mark, 3 for Ken, BC, myself, and at this time we'll go into we're gonna do a vinyl gem today. All right, this week for our in quotations hidden gem, we're gonna do a vinyl gem. It could be hidden, could be otherwise, it could be a special edition or something. Who knows what it's gonna be? So let's Dylan, let's hear from you first tonight, my friend.
Well, when you told me that we were going to do a vinyl hidden gem, I didn't know that I actually had to own it, so I picked something completely different that I had listened to and I don't own because it's super expensive now. But I can go with that, or I can go with something that's similar that I do own. What do you want me to do?
Take your pick. Give us both, since you didn't really talk too much
well,
today.
they're both from the same artist, so it'll be quick. The first one, I'll go with the one that I owned. I have a picture of it pulled up. This was actually, I think, one of my very first vinyl purchases back in the early 2010s when I was starting to really get into vinyl. And I've always been a huge fan of My Chemical Romance. I was looking through Gallery of Sound, our local record store, and I saw this Record Store Day exclusive picture disc of their one single off their album Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. The song's called Na Na Na, and the chorus is very much just them singing Na Na. And it's a very different album. Dad, don't listen to it. You would not like it.
Thank you.
But the picture disc has has like one of the characters from the music videos, which are really cool, kind of out the window. And then the B-side is a song that's not on the album, 0%. And it has a really cool picture of like a comic book graphic of something going boom, and there's a boom box behind it. So that's the one that I own. The one that I don't own is, so for the last official studio releases that My Chemical Romance put out, they put out 5 EPs that are collected into something called Conventional Weapons. And each EP had like a different colored version of it. There was like translucent white, orange, stuff like that. Really awesome songs on it. I think the first one, number 1 it's called, is the best, has some amazing songs on them. The vinyls themselves, each of them go for like $90 now individually.
Really? Ooh.
And there's a collected edition on sale for $360. So that tells you how voracious the My Chemical Romance fans are out there, since the band's broken up and everybody's scattered to the wind doing their own thing. But you could listen to the album on iTunes. It's available for streaming. They're split up into 5 different singles, quote unquote, because there's 2 tracks on each EP, and then it combines into a full album called Conventional Weapons. Really awesome tracks. Harkens back to the old days of My Chemical Romance, not the weird pop alt rock that they went to with their last album, but it's a really nice closing saga for them. So yeah, My Chemical Romance are both of my hidden gems for this week.
All right, cool. Mark, how about you?
Mine is something that I'm sure people will not be too surprised about. I'm a big David Bowie fan, and I've been lately getting into collecting his 45s. And one of the ones that I got this year that I've been hunting, and finally got is a song called Crystal Japan. This is the sleeve, and on the back you have Japanese, stuff for it. The B-side of this single is the Alabama song. Now, what's interesting about this
From the Doors?
single
Yeah.
is that, it was done by somebody else before them. It was like a German song, right?
But it's the same song.
Okay.
But the funny thing is that this was an instrumental piece written by Bowie in 1980, and it was a single for Japan. And what it was recorded for actually was it was used for a Japanese commercial for sake that they had in Japan called Crystal June Rock. And the commercial also features Bowie in the commercial. And the funny thing is, though, that he mentioned that although they used it for the commercial, he didn't specifically write that song for a commercial. He did write it for the album Scary Monsters, and it was supposed to be the last song on the album, but it got replaced at the last minute by It's No Game version 2 or number 2 on that record. So this ended up being a very collectible thing. The funny thing is, this is just a normal pressing of it. It comes with this normal RCA sleeve that it comes in, and this is the actual vinyl here. Now, the funny thing is that, like I said, this is just a normal pressing of it, right? On the back side here, you have the Alabama song. Now, if you happen to find a promo copy of this one, like on Discogs, this one's going for like, $9-10. If you have a really good version of it, like how I have, you can maybe get, $25-30 for it. But if you have the promo copy of this record, you're looking at right now somebody's selling one for like $290 online for a promo of this song. So, and because Bowie found out, this is years earlier, that it was a very hard to find and also expensive back at that time, he started including Crystal Japan on other singles. Like there's a single called Up the Hill Backwards that came out years later. He had that song be the B-side of it, so the Bowie fans wouldn't have to get raked over the coals to get that song. Very nice of him to do that, because people would go bankrupt trying to get this single song just because it was a Japan only release. So that's my hidden gem.
Very cool. Awesome. BC, a gem for you.
I'm going to go with the band out of New York at the time, back in 1985. They were at the beginning, I think, of the sleaze rock movement. And one of the band members is Kelly Nichols from, later went on to LA Guns. And they took their name off of a Kiss song off the Destroyer album. It's going to be Sweet Pain.
Oh, really? There's a band called Sweet Pain.
They named themselves after a track off the Destroyer album, Sweet Pain, and then, like I said, I picked this up back in the day, cassette only. I mean, I don't think they ever had anything other. Maybe about last year, I forget, I don't remember where I found this. It was some record store. I want to say Embassy Records in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, Embassy Records, yeah.
Embassy, I'm sorry. And I was going through, and something caught my eye. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, they pulled it out, and like I said, it's really in pristine condition for.
It looks like it's brand new.
It does. And I was like, and I think they want like $10 for it. I was like, I grabbed it and ran out the door, and I put it out. It sounds real good. I mean, not beautiful like the ones nowadays, but for being since 1985.
Now it's self-titled?
Sweet Pain, yeah. Sweet Pain.
Cool.
The one and only album.
You know what's funny? The reason why I got so excited about that is because my friend's band in Canada was called Sweet Pain. And I was like, really? I go, wow. I know it's not the same band because they're from here, not from New York City, but that's why when I saw that, I was like, wow, Sweet Pain. Huh?
Really?
Like, that was just so ironic, actually.
Mark, you just can't get away from Destroyer.
Yeah, I know.
Can't get away from it.
My curse.
All right, cool pick, BC. Ken, what do you got for us today, buddy?
What I've got is a hidden gem in a way for the reasons that there's something that probably should have been released back in 1980 or so, but was never released until just a couple weeks ago. So I I just got this one. And what it is it's Linda Ronstadt live in Hollywood. She recorded a television special on HBO back in 1980. And I think she did around 18 songs or so. And the only issue I have with this is it's not the full concert, but it's 12 of the songs. It's 6 songs per side. But man, it's just great. I mean, it's her only original or live release. She never had a live album released. I mean, there's bootlegs out there, but never official live album. Now this is one of those where you have to go to go through a local record store type of thing to get this copy, because what I'm saying is this is not black vinyl. This one's a translucent, nice red vinyl. This is a really nice red that they did on this one. The music on here is like pretty much her hits, almost like a greatest hits. And this was mastered really, really good by Bernie Grundman. Nice. He did a great job. I mean, it sounds so darn good. But they should have, again, it was a video special or a special that they did back in '80. The deal is they somehow thought they was lost this, the audio for this, and they found it through just some crazy way. Where one guy was looking for it, but they couldn't find it. So they know in the Warner archives until somebody, investigated a little bit more and found it. And what's funny is the guy found it because the guy was looking for it. He knew this other guy. They went to soccer games, for their kids, and he knew this guy worked for Warner's, and he said, "Hey, I've been looking for this. I can't seem to find it." And then the guy ended up finding it for him, and then it was like, "Whoa, we found it!" And so they finally found it and put it on vinyl. And Linda Ronstadt, you can't miss. I mean, she's one of my all-time favorites as far as the female singers. She is my favorite all time, and it's just great, music. For it pretty much covers anything up to 1980. For hits and shit, through the 70s.
Cool. And I was wondering, I figured you were going to have a Linda Ronstadt pick on this episode, and I know she's a favorite of yours because I just listened to Kiss FAQ. I know you talk about her frequently on there, and people talk about soccer moms, but now apparently there's something to be said about soccer dads.
Exactly. I know. Who would have thought?
So cool pick. I would definitely check that one out. Excellent.
Sounds great.
My gem is going to be this week. Dylan actually picked this up for me. It's a record store day exclusive from, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years ago. It's the Iron Maiden Empire of the Clouds record store day thing, and I literally just took the plastic off of this like 5 minutes ago. It's a picture disc. It's got Eddie flying the R101, and then on the back it's an interview with Nico and Bruce, and I didn't realize that it was a gatefold single, and it has a bunch of news clips and articles and stuff and pictures from the tragedy, because like when this album came out, I thought it was just something that they were, a fictional kind of thing, and I looked it up, and it's an actual thing. It's an actual Zeppelin that crashed and everything, and this was limited to 6,000 copies, and I have 2,960 copies here. Yeah,
very Jethro Tullish that design.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And it's like a hard. It's not your usual glossy kind of cardboard thing. It's kind of like a hard cardboard kind of packaging on it, and the disc is the album is cut out in the front, and the picture disc goes in the insert there, and you get the full picture. And I may actually put this on the turntable when we go home tonight. It was very cool. I was a little surprised at how much Dylan paid for it. I didn't pay for it, so it was a gift, so it was awesome. But no, actually, I did pay for it. I gave you the money
I
for
think
it.
you did.
I did, yeah. So it wasn't actually
It was,
wasn't actually a gift. Here's a
was-
gift for you, Dad. You owe me like $45.
Hey, he went and got it. He went and got it. That's the gift.
That's true. It's
There's
the
only
thought that counts.
6,000 copies of it.
It's
I
the
had to
thought
get
that
it.
counts. Yeah.
If he didn't go get it, you would have it.
But
That's the gift.
it's cool though, and it's and the song is great. It's like an 18-minute song, and there's a 21-minute interview on the other side, which I will actually listen to.
I like to call it
At
Bruce
some point.
Dickinson's magnum opus.
Yeah, if I can't ever see them doing that song live, but if they did, it would be just magnificent. I think if they ever did a type of an evening with Iron Maiden show, I think that this would be a good, maybe like set number 2 opener where the
At the piano.
piano comes down or whatever, and maybe Bruce will actually play the piano. We hope. On the song, not to get into other topics here, but that's our gems for this week, you guys. We have Crystal Japan from Mark 45, which is a very interesting thing. Linda Ronstadt live in Hollywood from Ken, which is cool. So I may actually look for that one too. We have Sweet Pain from BC. We have the My Chemical Romance saga from Dylan.
Yeah, just go with Conventional Weapons, the EP set.
Okay. And we have the Empire of the Clouds Iron Maiden Record Store Day exclusive for me. And let's go back in. We'll do our last 2 picks, and we can wrap it up. Let's go with BC to start this one.
All right, people. Anybody listens?
Shocking pick. Shocking.
Anybody who listens to our podcast knows I gotta slip this guy in every chance I get. It's my boy, Lizzy Borden with the Midnight
Borden.
Things. You cannot go wrong with Lizzy Borden, damn it. I get my ass busted constantly for this, but
I never heard of her.
she's awesome.
Which one's pink?
And this is the, I guess you would call it, I think they called it like an olive green.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, puke green.
Translucent.
Translucent olive green, and then there was a gray one.
You got both.
I got both, and I'm currently in the market for the red. There's a red, there's a blue, and
There's another color. There's one more too, I think.
the one's called like a maroon marbush, but I call it like a marbush red. But anyways, great album, comeback album in 2018, bitches. Lizzy Borden.
And you're in one of the music videos for one of the
And
songs.
I'm in the video for Obsessed With You, damn it. So check it out, people.
All right, cool. It is a good album, and I was talking to BC. I totally screwed up when I ordered that album, and I forgot that I ordered the album, so I ordered again. So I have 2 copies of the same album, same color. So if anybody wants to
2 t-shirts
put a bid
too,
on
right?
on the, but I don't think I have that color one. I think the other one I have is the other color,
Great.
the gray one. I think I have the gray one.
Yeah.
So I have number 72 and like 77 of the same album. But cool picks though. All right, Ken, what do you got up first next, friend?
All right, another one last year I picked up, which is from, what was it, 1983. And it's one that I had originally, and I'm restocked this one now again, like the others. And it is Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind.
Awesome.
This is, again, what I try to do is, if I can, possibly, I get the promo copy. This is a promotional copy. This has a gold stamp up in the upper right-hand corner.
Yep, right on the end there.
Yeah, the cover is not the greatest shape. It's been, I guess,
Beat up a little.
been taken too great care of. But the stuff inside is not bad. You got your lyric sheet, picture of the band sitting on the table there. And then the vinyl is good shape. Not a lot of noise or anything on it, and it sounds pretty darn good. It has a center label there. It's like a brain.
Does it have any
Yep.
kind of promo
Yeah.
indicators?
Good question. On this label, I can't remember. I don't see anything on the indicator here as it being the promo on there. There is something written on the groove here. Oh, Bullocks
Bollocks.
is etched in one side. Bullocks, and maybe let's see if we got anything else on the other side.
Wanker
Not
talk.
the other side. Yeah. It's sterling stamp. But yeah, this one sounds great. I had this when it came out way back originally, and it's just one of those ones that you
gotta
can't
have
go
it.
wrong with this album.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that record. And it's funny, I have only one vinyl copy of that as well. And like you, I have a promo copy, but I have an Australian promo copy of it. Found it at a record store. It has a really interesting center label that actually has like, a promo for radio only stamping on it. And it was probably like, as I was reading up on it, in Australia did some special kind of things like that every once in a while for EMI Australia, where they did these kind of releases. So my record store here in Mississauga actually ran into a few of these promotional versions of it, but I could only afford to get one of them, so I got Peace of Mind. But it's a great record, and the promo copies, I'm sure, sound fantastic.
How can you go wrong with where Eagles Dare and Flight of Icarus and the Trooper and so on? I mean, it's
Revelations, one of my favorite songs.
Revelations.
Yeah, that's my all-time favorite Maiden album, and I love the production. I love like the warm sound of that album. I think it's just like one of the best sounding Maiden albums. Definitely my favorite, and I actually ended up purchasing the I don't know, when did they redo them? 2014, 2015, I think, and that's the copy I have. But I want to say the original copy that I had, I got it literally the week that it came out, so it's got to be a first edition. It's got to be over my parents' house somewhere, which I got to look for that one of these days. But definitely one of my favorite Iron Maiden albums. And Ken, that could be the pick of the night as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, and they also have a really, really fantastic YouTube video on the reissue and the master pressing, like the pressing of it for the vinyl online. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, they have a really long, like almost 20-minute video at Abbey Road where they're showing them pulling out the quarter-inch tapes and everything for it. So if you're interested in
really?
It is online.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Thanks for that information. I'm all about anything Peace of Mind. Favorite album cover too. Great pick.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you got up next?
Okay, so for me, another one that you will be not surprised about, but a little backstory on it. I'm a big Yes fan, as everybody knows, and I have a vast Yes collection on vinyl. I have collected what I was looking for a long time ago was I tried to find kind of odd pressings of records. And Time and a Word, the second Yes album, was originally a white album cover with some women's legs on the front of it. And in America, they considered this a risque kind of album cover, so they redid the front cover and changed the album cover. In Germany, what they did is they used the front cover from the very first Yes album from the American and Canadian pressing, which is just them standing in front of a building, right? And the Germans had their own pressing of this record, and the big thing about it was that they had a different song on it on side 2, song track 1, that wasn't on the American or the UK version of it. So this became a kind of collectible kind of record because there were so many variations compared to the UK and the US one. So I had finally caught this one, put it on my turntable, and it sounds amazing. It's mastered by this well-known German guy that does thing. His marking is called his markings are GF punts or something like that on there on the back, and he's known for doing these German German pressings. Yeah. So what they ended up doing is they did a record store day reissue of this album, and that's this one here. So this is Time and a Word, but this is a record store day version of the album. And like I mentioned before, they went down into every single minute detail of the reissue of this, down to the label. Cool. And even the song that got switched out on side B, which I just showed there, which was called Dear Father, that was originally just a single. And for some reason, they put it on the album version. It was never on there. There was a song called The Prophet that was on there instead. So this is a very cool record. I think it was only like 6,000 copies of this were made worldwide. And it was redone, at Capitol Mastering, and done by one of the more up-and-coming mastering guys named Ian Shevchuk. So he's a big mastering guy and it sounds really good. But for me personally, I still prefer the original German version of that record. So that's my next pick.
Cool. Now, Mark, how much big of a difference is there between versions like that? Is it like really, really noticeable, or just noticeable if you're kind of listening for differences?
If you're just a regular music fan who loves music and doesn't really get tied down with all these kind of different nuances, then you probably won't notice a grandiose difference in the albums. But I mean, because I'm one of those guys that does write my own recordings and has to try to pick out these kind of differences with my own recordings, then I can pick out little things. I think the new version of it sounds very good. It's a bit more clear in the top end. But what I like about the original one is that it has a sort of more mid-range warmth to it than this one has. And I also find what's interesting is that the new version is a little bit quieter in volume than the original one. I find the original one has a bit more volume overall in it when you listen to it. So it's not huge noticeable, but for maybe audiophile people, you probably might notice a little bit of a difference in sound.
All right, Mark, definitely a cool pick. Always up for some cool Yes stuff. And next pick is going to be mine. And this is a pick that, once again, I picked this one up in Nashville when we went to the Rockin' Pod Expo 2 this last year. And this album, this supergroup first came out, I was like, oh my God, these guys totally kick ass. And the band is Damn Yankees. This was right in the heyday of 1990 when it was totally going from vinyl to CDs. So I've never ever seen this album on vinyl. I've seen it on the Discogs a couple times for like $40-50, and I think I picked this up for maybe $30. I think maybe at brand new, unopened, in Nashville, and usual regular black vinyl. But it's on the
Friday Music. Right?
Friday Music. Sounds fantastic. And I think I played this 2 or 3 times, and it's gatefold. It's got like the picture of the handwritten lyrics on the inside, and there's your back cover. It's got all the credits and stuff on there. But just a great album, and it was just one of those albums that I've been pretty much just looking for, and one that I was dying to add to my collection, and this one was hard to find, and I can only imagine. I've been looking for Don't Tread, and I don't even know if that even exists for the second album. I think I've seen it a little bit, but it's like crazy more expensive than this one was. And Damn Yankees, self-titled, Tommy Shaw, Ted Nugent, Jack Blades, and Michael Corleone. However, I always fuck that name up.
Corleone is the main character.
Corleone.
I know. But just the
You broke my heart, Fredo.
Cartleone is how it's spelled there. But just a great album. There's not really a bad song on there. Coming of Age, Bad Reputation. I love Mystified on there. Come Again is just a classic song, and the harmonies and the lead work on this is just a phenomenal album. And this is the band that I would really, really love to see get together again. And that's my next pick. All right. Just so you guys know, we seem to have lost Ken for the time being. He may be having technical issues. Imagine that. It's usually us. So we hope Ken gets back on here. BC, give us your next pick.
Well, my final pick will be another band I always promoted since back in the day. When 1988, they first came out with their debut album, and it took 30 years to come out with their second album. It's an LA band called Roxanne with Radio Silence. But this is one of the pre-order things I decided to do, and it's like a big gatefold album. Very nicely done. It came with a little, I don't know what you want to call this.
A promo,
it's like a promo flat or something.
Promo flat, but then this is the regular flats that you sometimes see.
Mm-hmm.
Came with all that, and then the vinyl is like a red. I guess you call it splattered. I guess. To me, a great album. I like it. I mean, it's different from what they did back in 1988. But again, it's 30 years later, so of course it's not going to be the same. But great album, nevertheless. I can't talk that for any other night.
Yeah, great package for that album, I think. But
it's one of 300. There's only 300.
What does it have? What number that one is?
It's not on here, but I saved the sticker from the cut when it was wrapped. The number's on that. I think it's like 31 of 300.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, that's good.
I have a lower number for Project Gemini, by the way.
You're number 7.
You are number 6.
You are number 6.
But in that, I'll tell you what, that's a great package.
Very
that they put that.
Very well done.
I can't say I'm a real fan of the album. It didn't.
I liked it.
I don't know. There was some good stuff on there. I like the one song with the video with George Lynch plays on it.
That was one of your final albums of the year, right? One of your top albums.
Yeah.
Super bad.
Yeah. It's still hasn't grown on me, but maybe I'll give it another chance though.
Come on.
But Mark, have you checked this album out? These guys out at all or no?
I am familiar with them, and I've heard some stuff here and there, but I'm not too familiar with them. I'm not like BC familiar with them,
I don't think Roxanne's as BC familiar with them as they are.
They're in the Lizzy neighborhood.
But cool pick though. Their package is very
and
well put together.
It was a bundle that I got from the record company, and I have a cassette version of it. Talk about cassettes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they released a cassette. And
that's really cool.
It's like in a red. It's a red cassette. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I'm thinking I can't see cassettes catching on like vinyl has come back.
You never know.
You never know. But
yeah, really. That's cool. Good pick. Mark, what do you got for us?
Okay, so it's interesting because we just talked about a really great package, like how BC showed with his album there, and you guys were all showing. Actually, I think so far everybody's records had a really good packaging to it. And the last one I have is one of those records when I heard these guys were reissuing their records. I had high hopes for it, and my hopes were answered because these albums came out so good. It was one of those albums where I was like, this is exactly what I was hoping that bands would do, and inspires me to do stuff similar like what they've done. And I'll show you what record I'm talking about. I'm talking about Fate's Warning.
Nice.
And this is Parallels, which is the incredible record. This is a fantastic album. And this is on ochre brown marbled vinyl. Okay. Now, I'll show you what I really like about this record. First of all, look at that inner sleeve, okay?
Metal Blade, yeah, cool.
Metal Blade Records reissued it, right? Now these really cool, like vinyl, like line, like the inner anti-static lined thing. Remember, I always bitch about that, saying how reissues come out and they're on these shitty paper sleeves that scratch the piss out of your vinyl. Well, no, I think Metal Blade listened finally, and they don't do that. And these are really cool. Like this whole inner sleeve is worth saving because it's such a cool Metal Blade design to it, right? Here's the sort of marbleized brown, right?
Oh, that's a different color. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Obviously, if there was more light, you could probably catch the kind of translucentness of it, right? Now, what's also cool about this, besides the fact that they did a great job remastering it, and for all of us who are fans of this band, know how good the record sounds to begin with, right? They give you a nice inner sleeve, the band, right? And they have the lyrics on the other side, right? So I was thinking, okay, that's really cool that they did that, but to even top it one step further, okay? And I was like, guys, Metal Blade, you guys are awesome. They included this in it as well. And this record cost no more than a lot of the other records that were in the record store. Okay?
That's cool.
So it came in here with this gigantic poster with it as well. Now if you flip it, they even put it like a double-sided one. So if you turn it over, it's one of the whole band in there.
Okay.
So to me, this is a sign of a label that gives a shit about their artists, who are willing to go that extra step, not only in just putting posters in and lyric sheets, but good anti-static sleeves, nice ones that are designed nicely. They're not just white or black or whatever. They actually made a nice design on it. So to me, this is what bands should be doing, you know? And this is what I try to do with my own stuff. I try to make sure I get good inner sleeves so you guys don't get like scratched up shit when you pull out the record, right? I try to include posters in mine as well, lyric sheet. Like this is, me and Metal Blade are kind of thinking the same way with this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because I think it's worth it because you guys are spending your hard-earned money on these albums. Why shouldn't you get your dollars worth?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I totally agree. And Mark, and you know, I gotta say what's funny. We're recording this the week when you guys listen to this. We're recording this the week before you guys listen to last week's episode. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
We actually reviewed that Fates Warning album.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Love it.
So it's weird when you brought that. I'm like, that looks like the album we just did. But great packaging, and when you showed that inner sleeve, I got Lizzy Borden, Love You to Pieces to Metal, which is also another Metal Blade record company album, and it has that very same inner sleeve, and I was like, wow, these guys really thought this out, and it has the big poster in it too, and it's great. And Mark, and I know
Lizzy Borden in the mirror.
In the mirror, yeah, I know. I never saw. I was looking at the girl, BC. I can tell you.
See,
and I know Mark is all about the packaging and the you know what you get for your money. And Mark has always been on the top of the game for that. And you know you are simpatico with Metal Blade Records and with your packaging. Great pick though, like, and I and that's a different color vinyl too, like different from what you usually see.
Yeah, like brown. That's and that was funny.
It's not a common color.
No.
Right? And I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing that you guys really like the record, but for me, that side A is like unbelievable. Like from the very opening song in that to like the 11th hour, the last song on the first side. What an amazing side A of a record. I mean, I was like, just floored. And Terry Brown did such a great job mixing it. Unbelievable.
What we that was the episode we picked.
We picked all different.
We all picked different albums
of bands that we really didn't
were not familiar with. And I've always heard Fates Warning, but never really took time to really listen to them until this episode. And like, I'm a fan definitely now, and I got to delve into more of their stuff after listening to that.
You'll love it. I mean, they had a different singer for the first 3-4 records, but it's still really good stuff. I think if you like this stuff, you'll like it.
Excellent, very cool. Unfortunately, Ken has not come back onto our radar, so is it my pick now?
It's your pick.
Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. My Kiss nerd is showing tonight. My final pick will be, and actually, this is actually
Chris solo album.
Yes, no, the first Kiss album, first pressing, which I had been looking for forever. The cover is kind of beat, kind of falling apart. The seams are kind of shot, but the vinyl itself is in great shape. No skips. I listened to it a couple times. It sounds excellent, and one of the best things
without kissing time.
Without kissing time on it, and it's funny because when I talked about the Rock and Roll Over album that I had, the Teardrop version, BB had grabbed that one for me. I think he got it on eBay, and he paid like I think $12 for it. He was out on a business trip out in San Francisco, and I want to say maybe September of last year, and he found a vinyl store there, and he came upon this. It was kind of beat up, but he got it for like $15, which I'm more about the music than the cover and everything like that. I wanted a first edition of it, and I got it. BB kicked total ass on it. The covers beat the shit, but the vinyl, to me, like I said, the most important part is in really, really good condition. I gave it a good job cleaning it. It's the NB9001 version, which is the first one. I have the.
I'll tell you something. If you're into actually keeping this copy for the long run, what I do sometimes with copies like this that are a bit junked up is I go to my like office supply store, and I buy myself 2-sided tape, and I go and I can repair these kind of albums. You just get the 2-sided tape, put it on the flap there
On the
and then
inside.
and you can fix those album covers pretty well, actually.
Oh, yeah. And actually, BC just mentioned, did you buy that?
No, we got them. I have one.
Oh,
I thought you
okay.
got one.
There's a guy that was at the Rock and Pod Expo that had
Nashville.
a repair kit for stuff like that, and we have a free sample of it, right?
Yeah, give everybody a sample.
I don't know if I got one.
Oh, really, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that sells
Yeah,
the thing,
he
just put it
like
in.
has some kind of thing,
As
and
soon as I saw it, I'm like, you should use
it's
that
a
with it.
repair kit for this kind of problem.
If you discover it, give me a link. to
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
gonna have to look for
BC,
it.
look for yours. I don't. For some reason, I think you got one and I didn't. Someone. I'm pretty sure that I
He
did.
had a table there, and it was about that, and you could buy them, and he goes, here's one to try. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's pretty much like what you said. It's like a 2-sided tape kind of thing, but
it has
it's like has an applicator for it.
Yeah, it's real cool.
That
Cool.
is pretty cool. So I will definitely. BC should have his. I
You have to look.
remember it, but I don't remember actually getting one.
So,
Yeah. So I mean, definitely cool, and and I still love the iconic album cover of the first Kiss
The only
album.
time you'll see that makeup on Peter Criss like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really weird because I remember when I heard the bane of your existence, Destroyer first, and then the very next album I heard was the first Kiss album, and I remember seeing the cover of Destroyer, and I'm like, who the hell is this other guy here next to the guy with the star? Because you didn't know. And trust me, people, back in the day, you weren't thinking Spaceman, Demon, Love Child, Catman, whatever.
Yeah.
You weren't thinking that. You were thinking the guy with the star, the guy with the tongue, the guy with the silver, then the guy with the other one. But like I remember looking at that and going, who's that guy next to the guy with the star? What is that? He kind of looks like the other guy, but like that's really weird. But
And just think, there was almost balloons in that cover too.
I know. That's really weird. But Mark, have you ever, just to get off topic real quick, have you ever seen all the pictures from the photo session of the first Kiss album? Have you seen those pictures?
Yeah, I've seen a whole bunch of them. Actually, I had one framed in my house before, and I think I left it in a box somewhere in my crawl space. But yeah, I've seen a bunch of different ones. I don't know if I've seen every single one of them.
Yeah.
But I've seen.
There's a lot of really cool ones, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day at the old Kiss Expos, they had posters of the outtakes from that, and there were a lot of really cool ones. So, all right, I apologize. Ken got knocked off here, so we'll go around. We'll say our goodbyes. We'll come to you second to last before me, Mark, and you can plug all your stuff. Dylan, what do you got to say?
It's cool that everybody got some great vinyl this year. I got some too. I just didn't get enough to really feel like I qualified to participate in the episode. And none of them were out of this world. Like, oh my God, what a find! They were all pretty. Like you could find it anywhere. But it's really cool that there's always something to find, whether it's a new old or a new packaging of something old. So it's really awesome that everybody had something to share.
Yeah, I agree. This is a cool episode, as always. And you find yourself every episode coming away with something new. And I didn't realize how much like vinyl I picked up, and our gym vinyl. I had to narrow that down. And then with Mark, just the knowledge you have of the vinyl and the pressings is just phenomenal. And I love listening to you when you talk about vinyl, because the knowledge is incredible to me. And,
Thank you.
And thank Ken for being on too, until we lost him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, go ahead, my friend.
Well, yeah, I think that this is always one of these fun episodes to do. I like doing it because obviously we have a little bit of a different collecting taste in some ways, but in a lot of ways we like a lot of the same stuff as well. But I find it fascinating, for example, that BC has such a 80s eye for this stuff. Like he has like the Dangerous Toy stuff, which is very cool, and the Lizzy Borden, which is cool as well. I mean, I'm not as familiar with them, but that's why I like coming onto these kinds of shows, because it introduces me to stuff that I wouldn't maybe know about until I came here and heard it from you guys, right? So, and also Steve has some great stuff too, like all those different versions of the Ace Frehley records and stuff like that. I mean, it's just fantastic, to have this kind of availability to these things that maybe I don't have or could get on my end of the globe here, right? So, but I love doing these shows, and I'm always happy to come back and do it whenever you guys want to do stuff with vinyl again. And I'm happy to do it and to share my knowledge of this stuff. I mean, keep in mind that the knowledge that I acquire is also partially because I have to acquire it for some of the stuff that has to do with my own albums, right? The more I know, the better off it'll be for the product that I release for everybody else, right?
Absolutely. Mark, give us a good plug for Project Gemini and your podcasts that you do.
Okay, well, I do 2 podcasts on a regular basis. The KISS FAQ podcast, which has been actually doing pretty good of late. We've been getting a little bit of a jump in viewers. I don't know if that's because we've been getting a little controversial with some of the things we've been talking about, like with the lip syncing and stuff like that. But it's been going good. I really enjoy doing it. The Yes Music podcast is the other one I do, which it's ironic because whenever I talk about that one to my friends or my family, it's like the KISS one is like really fun and can be very chaotic with the response from people, and people get really passionate about KISS whenever we talk about it. But the Yes one is such a very calm and finger up on the air, tea sipping kind of audience, where it's like very like the rudest they get is like, I disagree. Like that's about as rude as they'll get, on there. So it's a really different kind of atmosphere when you're dealing with Yes fans. But it's good. If everything was the same, then there would be no fun in life. It's the differences that make stuff fun to be involved with. So I like doing the Yes one. I also do my own Project Gemini update stuff, and keep people up to date on what I'm doing. In the next month or so, like in March, I'm going to be starting filming myself writing and recording the 4th Project Gemini album. So I will be keeping you guys informed and having you guys come along on the ride as I do it. I'm not sure if you guys caught my last update, because I did mention that I was thinking about maybe ditching the Patreon because I'm starting to feel a little bit like I'm separating my supporters, and I don't like doing that. I like keeping everybody as one happy family. So I think it might be better to just let everybody be in on the same thing so that people don't feel left out, especially when it comes to something like this. I mean, people I know are really anxious to see what's going on. And I mean, people like BC, I'm eternally grateful that you did jump on and support me. I will never, you're in my debt for jumping in and doing that. Honestly, Brian, I really appreciate that you stepped up when I started this. But, I hope you understand my reasoning for maybe getting rid of it, because I want to have everybody feel like they're included in this ride that I'm going to be doing now with the next record, right? And I'm thinking too, a few people have messaged me and said that, you know what, we're all here to support you, and if you ever did need help, I feel that you could just go and ask us on the YouTube channel for help, and some of us would be more than willing to help, right?
Exactly.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that that's maybe a reason maybe to just ditch out the Patreon in that way as well. But, I'm looking forward to the next record. I have a lot of great ideas for it. Actually, I do have the idea already. James McCarthy has already started on working on the album cover already, so there's going to be another James McCarthy album cover done. It's going to be great. I already have the album title figured out, everything. Just got to write the music, and you guys will get to see me from the rough form as I come up with ideas, film myself, show you what I've come up with, and then go on to more detail. Like, here's the proper drums. Show me recording some of the bass tracks, the guitar tracks, even the vocals. You'll get to see me do. It'll be more detailed this time. You guys can see what's going on and maybe make it that much more exciting for when it comes time to start the pre-ordering and everything else that comes afterwards, right? Because I think there's a little bit of a disconnect. I come and tell you guys I'm working on it, and all of a sudden I'm ready to start the pre-order, So it's like sometimes like it just comes out of nowhere. But this way, you guys can see what's going on, and you know what's going on, and you can kind of feel like you're along for the ride.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast today, and we apologize. This episode has been rife with technical difficulties because we're actually doing video Skype so we could see what everyone else is doing here, and you guys will see the albums that we're going to put on the podcast. It'll be in the we can put it in the notes, right, Dylan?
Yeah.
Dylan will put that in the notes. Mark and Ken are going to send us pictures of his albums, and I'm anxious to see what Ken's last pick would be. I don't know if Ken had something going on or if he had a little technical difficulty going on the end there. They were all cool picks, and that's why we like to have guys like Mark and Ken on there. We know they have different taste than we do. We got some cool stuff from Mark, the Porcupine Tree, and the David Bowie, and from Ken, the Lyndon Ronstadt, the Tom Petty and stuff like that. And that's what it's all about, you guys. And Mark gave us the two good starter albums for Frank Zappa, Apostrophe and Overnight Sensation. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to check them out because I always kind of wondered what the fascination with Frank Zappa was, and I remember like any of the stuff that I always saw, I was like, well, that's like shit's like really weird, but I'm kind of looking forward to checking out some of the stuff because I think that for hard rock or metal guys, that a guy like Frank Zappa kind of maybe got a bad rap of that kind of weird psychedelic kind of stuff when I'm sure there's some quality stuff out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I want to thank Mark for that. And they're doing a Frank Zappa like hologram thing now too, aren't they?
Yeah, that's really.
Mark sounds really excited about it.
Doesn't sound too excited.
Yeah, I'm so against it.
We got to roll.
There's no soul. There's no soul in that. You know what I mean? Like you're just going to be watching a hologram of a guy who's unfortunately long time gone, and you're going to have a band there playing along with it. So it's going to be one of these things again where it's all done to a click track because the hologram has to be played along to something to keep it in sync, right? So again, it's one of those things where you have people are going to have a lot of issue with it because there's going to be no variation in it. And that's one thing I think Frank Zappa would have frowned upon, is that if you watch YouTube videos of Frank Zappa live, his concerts from show to show to show, even sometimes a man would do 2 shows a night, like an afternoon show and an evening show, and they would vary from afternoon to evening. Using a hologram, you're going to have the same show every single night because you can't variate the hologram. You can't come to the hologram and say, excuse me, can you sing this a little different? You can't do that. It's going to have to be the same thing every single night.
Right, and it's got to be something that's been filmed before.
Over and over.
Yeah.
And there's going to be no mixing up the set list or nothing, no spontaneity whatsoever.
Exactly. And that's why the Zappa plays Zappa thing with Dweezil, I highly recommend it to anybody. It's much better. He variates the set list. The band improvises stuff on a nightly basis. It's just fantastic.
That's what live music is all about,
not
watching the screen.
That's why I wasn't really excited about the Ronnie James deal.
The deal, yeah. I'm
exactly.
not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, the guys are playing, but it's not really him.
But they're pretty much prisoners of what the hologram is, really.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
In which
exactly.
That's just not rock and roll to me. Rock and roll is just get out there and play. And Dylan and I were talking about Kiss in that respect, that there's for as mammoth that they are, for as great as they are, they forever have lacked spontaneity. Everything is regimented. If you ever watch the movie Hunt for Red October, the one guy says something about the Russians. He says they don't take a dump without a plan, and that's pretty much what Kiss has become. Like there's no variation. There's no, all right, tonight let's throw this song in instead of this song. It's you get what everyone else gets. There's no soul.
There's no variation.
Right.
There's no playing like one night I feel like I'm gonna improvise a solo a little bit longer. You can't do it, and that's one of the things I used to like about the Alive era period. Because if you watch some of the bootleg videos from there, they would do like songs like "Let Me Go Rock and Roll," and that long section they would do in the playout would change night to night. They would do little different things, and you can't do that now because of the way it's set up.
No, it's all just regimented, which I think, and you're right, it does take the soul away from it. Once again, when I'm sure we'll hear from Ken between now and when this episode comes out, and we will. I'll have him send a picture of what his last pick was. And Ken, sorry you kind of dropped out of the discussion here. Hope everything's okay. Mark, thank you very much for spending your time with us. Mark, you're a longtime supporter of our podcast and longtime co-host with us. And I will have your revised shirt on the way within a couple days here. And
Thanks, dude.
But thank you guys out there for listening. We want to thank Ken once again, 69th Blizzard, the voice of reason on the FAQ podcast, and Mark Anthony K from the Yes podcast and Kiss FAQ also. Thank you, Dylan, for all the work you do. BC, good job. BB, I know he had stuff going on tonight that he couldn't be here. And thank you guys. Check out our Spotify playlist. All the stuff that we talked about, there will be some songs from that, from Frank Zappa to Linda Ronstadt to Tom Petty to Lizzy Borden, Kiss, the whole gamut will be on there. So definitely check it out. Share us on Facebook. Check our Facebook page out. Twitter. I'm trying to do a little more with Twitter. I am kind of lazy where that is considered. We post videos on Facebook every week. Check them out. Share it. Tell your friends about us. Give us a review on iTunes, hopefully favorable, and check out Podchaser too. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. Podchaser's a great website. They're kind of like the maybe Wikipedia of podcasts on there. And hope you guys are all well and healthy out there, and we'll see you next time, and there definitely will be a next time.